My name is Yena Choi. I was born in South Korea and I'm currently living in Malaysia due to my father's job. When I first came to Malaysia, I was very shocked by the way I was taught in my new school. For example, South Korean or Asian education is very different from the school we all go to here in Malaysia. It is an international school. We learn in a totally different way than what my friends or family would do back in Korea. When I call my friends or family in Korea, they would always tell me how education and schools are very harsh. Some of them even said that their schedule for the day is school plus tuition centers for 4 hours or more. When I heard this, I wanted to find out more about the education differences around the world. My research led me to focus on two types of learning systems, rote learning and conceptual learning. Rote learning is a type of learning where in a way you learn and memorize a lot, as you can see up here in the diagram. And what do you think is going to happen afterwards? The students usually forget what they have learned. Just ask yourself right now, do you remember everything you have learned last year? After they get a reasonable grade, they will probably forget everything they have learned. An example of a rote learning education system is China's public education system. Let's check out the pros and cons of it. The pros to China's public education systems is that the education is less expensive than other countries. The books you need at schools are also cheaper, and you learn how to respect your teacher and to clean up after yourself, like your hallways, your classrooms, or your desks. Let's check out the cons. The cons of China's public education system is that the entrance exam to college is very strict. Students are required to remember everything they are taught. Also, there's about 30 to 50 students in a class, so a student does not have time to have a one-to-one interaction with their teacher. And there's almost no creativity in the students because they're always studying and solving math problems. You would do great in China's public education system if you like studying. Memorizing is not helpful in education. It takes a long time for you to memorize something, but at the end, you forget it very easily. A good way of memorizing is just the basics. You can memorize what is 1 plus 1 or 2 plus 2. But if you try to memorize everything you learn, it's not going to be helpful. Rote learning is a type of learning that is common from where I come from. The other type of learning is called conceptual learning. Conceptual learning is a type of learning with a progress. First, you explore about a topic, then you reflect on what you know, and lastly, you clarify what you know. In my opinion, I think that conceptual learning is a great type of learning. It makes a student really clear about what they're learning about. In rote learning, you have to learn about a topic and you must do it very fast. But in conceptual learning, you get to learn about the whole topic. It might take a longer time, but the good thing is that you understand it. Understanding what you know in education is more important than learning something, then forgetting it, and having to study again. The system you learn in can have a big impact on a student's mental health. It can be helpful to you or not helpful to you at all. There are mental health issues happening around the world due to the stress and hatefulness toward education. In some environments, students are called not smart just because they did not get an A on the exam. A student should not think negatively about themselves just because they did not get a good grade. That's why students are experiencing suicide and other dangerous effects. The world can't have students suiciding just because of education, and that's why schools around the world should change their way of teaching to help students learn more freely and not to worry to get a good grade and please their parents. Parenting makes a huge difference on a student's mental health. You might wonder, how is parenting even related to education? But actually, parenting makes a huge difference in a student's mental health. If a parent is pushing their child to more homework and tuition centers, the student will feel stressed out. Also, to Asian parents, education equals to a bright future. They want their child to be the best. That's why Asian parents compare everyone with their child to see who is better. If you get a lower score than another person on an exam, they will punish you and make you study more. That's why in some parts of Asia, students are suiciding because everything's about perfect grades and being the top of your class. Western parents tend to think in a different way. Western parents tend to think that students should be able to face their own problems and successes. They should not have a teacher or a parent solve their problems for them. What do you think is the correct way for a student to learn? If students are facing mental health issues, how do we prevent ourselves or solve it? Counselors have used therapy to help students with mental health issues. Students with mental health issues feel like they're not good enough and trapped. In our school, we learn by using Kelso's choices, and we also learn to appreciate what we're good at. We're all different in how we learn, and there are different types of learners. There is auditory, tactile, and visual learners. Visual learners are learners who learn well by looking at something. Auditory learners are learners who learn well by listening to something. And lastly, tactile learners are learners who learn well by touching or feeling something. We're all different in how we learn. As part of action for this project, me and my partner decided to host a book drive. We would be donating our books to the Samson Learning Center. The Samson Learning Center is a place for Myanmar refugees and children who are in need of children's books so that they can teach them how to read and to learn English. A book is an object that can be used over and over again, so this is an ongoing action. I hope that the children at the Samson Learning Center will learn well and enjoy the books we donate to them. In the future, I hope that every student will learn in an environment where they can learn freely and enjoy learning. We should all prevent ourselves from mental health issues and change the way we learn to help students in the future. Thank you.